Well, there are massive crowds that showed up here today to the Daily Plaza here in downtown Chicago. You could see the number of signs, the number of people. All of them say they're protesting the Trump administration when it comes to hands off the courts, immigration laws, and foreign affairs. They say now is the time to stand up to the administration.
Chicagoans sending a statement to the Trump administration today, growing frustrated with many of the president's policies. A number of organizations joined in on the rally at Daily Plaza, protesting for reproductive rights, immigration laws, international peace, and federal funding to critical programs.
The science, the universities, research, freedom, no arrests without due process.
People are awake, alive, paying attention, and ready to step out and do something against this horrible administration.
Protests against the administration have continued across the country, as well as suburbs throughout Illinois. Crowds gathered in Arlington Heights today protesting for the same reason. In Chicago, the rally lasted a couple hours. One of the organizers is an assistant professor at UIC, where she says they're already facing adversity.
Our federal funding is at risk, or some of it is gone. We are very concerned about the attacks on education, the attacks on our students.
Others planning to continue these protests nationwide, as one woman says she's planning a march from Philadelphia to D.C. in hopes of sharing the stories of people impacted by policy decisions.
We, the people, are what makes the difference. That if we all stand up together, we can make change in our government.
Mr. President, you got to do the right thing, and you're not.
There were no counter-protesters in Chicago today, and we reached out to the Illinois GOP for comment, but did not hear back.
These organizers tell us this will not be the last time they're getting together to rally against the administration. Many more protests planned in the next coming weeks.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Peace and blessings, everybody. I just wanted to play that clip, just so people can get an idea of the temperature that's going on. As the title says, Message to Mayor Brandon Johnson, Part 5, Part Cinco, de Mayo. Listen, these people out here protesting all this nonsense about abortion rights, protesting all this nonsense about illegal immigration, protesting all these different, just irrelevant things, really, if you ask me, against the Trump administration. When Chicago is being led by the incompetency of Mayor Brandon Johnson, they should be protesting Mayor Brandon Johnson, because we are in a $1 billion deficit as one city. This man, as mayor, advocated to defund the police. He ran on a campaign saying he wasn't going to raise property taxes, but he ultimately ended up raising everything because of the deficit and the mismanagement that he has created with this country. He opted to be a sanctuary city, which not only hurt Chicago financially, but also it compromised the neighborhoods and the safety of this country, of this city. And Mayor Brandon Johnson, people should be protesting you and your mismanagement of Chicago. And what I mean by that, them people out there running up there talking about Donald Trump and he's trying to fix this nation, when the mayor of this city what do you have to say about this, Mayor Brandon Johnson? Let me bring up this video. Mr. Defund the Police, but you running around with 200 police officers in your personal detail, when we lacking police presence in these communities that are compromised due to your policies?
So far this evening has been the kind of uneventful evening that Chicago police, peacekeepers, and people here in Streeterville had hoped for. That so-called teen takeover that had been advertised on social media to begin earlier this evening never materialized, and that may be at least in part because of a significant presence by Chicago police.
On a holiday Friday night, the sidewalks of Streeterville swarmed with people.
We live in an area where there are restaurants and there's lots of entertainment, but we can't enjoy our own neighborhood if we have to be so scared.
That's why there was an undeniable show of force from the Chicago Police Department, performing an afternoon roll call outside the movie theater, standing at the ready on every block along East Illinois to establish a clear presence after large gatherings of young people in recent weeks have turned violent. A teenager shot in one of them.
I think it makes me feel less safe just because it was an overwhelming amount of policemen. So that,
I guess this night you told your 200 Mayor Brandon Johnson, you told your 200 officers are gone. Y'all gotta go hit the streets, man. I'm gonna lay low with the wifey or something. I'm put up. So y'all gone over there because they said it was an overwhelmingly amount. And while them people over there protesting about abortion rights, what about these teenagers that have been going crazy, all over downtown Chicago, making it unsafe? While we sitting at $1 billion deficit. But you wanted to defund the police. What a joke.
that definitely tells you something's not normal. They're here because something is a threat.
To help mitigate any threat, the city set up what's called geofencing around this small section of Streeterville until 10 p.m. Friday, after Chicago police say they learned groups of young people were taking ride shares to the so-called teen takeover locations. It prevents drivers from dropping off or picking up. Rideshare scooters effectively come to a screeching halt at the perimeter. Chicago's former emergency management director says the tactic has proven helpful.
If you make it a little bit more challenging for these kids, then hopefully they'll find something else that's more constructive to do.
That's also what Rodney Phillips and his group of peacekeepers are out to help do.
If we run into any teams, engage them and just stand on top to make sure no altercations.
A shout out to the people like this brother right here. They come out the community because the lack of resources. Because really, if Mayor Brandon Johnson prioritized the city of Chicago citizens, brothers like this wouldn't have to do what he's doing. But you took billions of dollars to take care of illegal immigrants instead. We seen illegal immigrants sitting at police stations, catering to them when the streets of Chicago have been neglected. Your priority, they should be protesting you, Mayor Brandon Johnson, because of your incompetency. You understand? Let's continue.
Nobody is victimized and nobody is arrested.
Now, that geofencing was set to expire right around now. There is still a noticeable presence from Chicago police out here, at least 24 officers, mostly concentrated in front of the movie theater. Now, between this geofencing, peacekeepers, and the police presence, these are all tactics that the police department will continue to tweak as they develop their safety plan heading into the busy.
See, downtown Chicago has become a war zone with these young youth. You know what I'm saying? And it's neglected. Not only in the, we already had an issue in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? With the streets being not as safe as they should be. Why these people out here protesting Donald Trump and what he got going on with his policies in the White House with dealing with China and abortion rights and talking about illegal immigration, while the country want to focus in on one isolated incident, there's several. And all you got to do is just go on ABC Chicago, type it in your search engine, and you can see the neglect for the community.
Winfield's parents say they were looking forward to finally seeing him walk the graduation stage next month for Morgan Park High School. Instead, they're left planning their only son's funeral after they say a night out with his friends turned deadly.
He had a lot of more life to live. He had a lot to give.
A teenager's goals and aspirations.
He said he wanted to go to college to be an engineer.
Will never come to fruition.
It's more than just another young black kid dead on the street.
As family, friends, and community leaders gather to remember the life of 19-year-old Trayvon Winfield.
It begins right here.
Outside of his family's Harvey home.
Please, I don't want to see no more of y'all ending up like my son.
Family members say the teen was out with friends Tuesday night when someone he knew opened fire while he was standing outside his car near 115th and Morgan. His girlfriend acting quickly, driving him to Roseland Hospital, but doctors there couldn't save him.
Why we ain't heard nothing about this young man, Trayvon? Why ain't nobody talking about this? You know, unfortunate situation. Mayor Brandon Johnson, all the resources that you are misappropriating, all the funding, that the federal funding that you have misappropriated, when the streets of Chicago are a war zone right now. While you going before Congress to explain why you are allowing illegal immigrants that have committed violent crimes, that have been detained, instead of cooperating with ICE agents, you send them back out to the streets of Chicago that are already riddled with crime. Mayor Brandon Johnson, your incompetency and how you have been leading as a mayor of Chicago contributes allegedly to situations like this that don't get much coverage. And this is just me randomly going on ABC News on YouTube and seeing this story.
His car left riddled with bullets outside of the emergency room.
I just wish you just never went over there. You know, that was like an old little neighborhood we stayed around. I just wish he just would have just came home from school and just came straight home.
Winfield was a senior at Morgan Park High School preparing for prom and graduation next month. His principal saying in a letter to students, parents, and staff, quote, "We are extremely saddened by this loss and will do everything we can to help our school community heal."
We love you, Trayvon!
But healing for those who knew Winfield,
He was a leader. He was a leader. Everybody looked up to Trayvon.
is showing to be a slow and heart-aching process.
It's going to be hard, but I'm going to go day by day with it.
Grief counselors will be made available for students and staff at Morgan Park High School. So far, police say no one has been arrested.
Now, why these people out here protesting, talk about abortion rights, why they ain't protesting for that? Huh? This high school kid, Trayvon Winfield, why they ain't protesting for that man, young life? We see all these GoFundMe accounts going on right about now. Why ain't nobody GoFundMe for that? Mayor Brandon Johnson, have you even spoken on this situation? You see, you created a more unsafe Chicago while you raising everybody taxes, taking away resources from the taxpaying citizens like that boy's family, giving it to undocumented immigrants. We have situations like this that are contributing factors to why we have this democratic approach to a felon city. While people out here protesting for due process for illegal immigrants. What an oxymoron. But I want to share with you this, man. This is what's going on, man. If you in Chicago in the summertime, be careful, man. We know we go down in the summer, every summer in Chicago. But this is just getting out of hand. And see, I know what's going on, man. I know the areas where certain people reside. And on this particular side of town, that shout out to the content creator, Anton Daniels is gonna show, I'm willing to bet a lot of these people are illegal immigrants that's outside. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, let's go.
There's a demand for action after a street takeover on Chicago's north side. Take a look at this. Cell phone video captures the chaotic scene early this morning at Ashland and Diversey in Lakeview. In daylight, you can see the skid marks left behind. We received a number of complaints from people in the neighborhood. A viewer shared this video showing cars doing donuts as fireworks go off. Another neighbor told us he wants Mayor Brandon.
Look at this mess, man. They in the middle of the street doing donuts, out the window shooting guns in the air with looks to be hundreds of young kids out there, teenagers, you know, standing around blocking traffic in the middle of a street major intersection. Mayor Brandon Johnson, Mr. Defund the Police. Explain yourself. While people out here protesting for abortion rights, explain yourself. While people out here protesting to get due process to undocumented illegal immigrants, explain why this is going on right now in the streets of Chicago. Let's run this back.
There's a demand for action after a street takeover on Chicago's north side. Take a look at this. Cell phone video captures the chaotic scene early this morning at Ashland and Diversey in Lakeview. In daylight, you can see the skid marks left behind. We received a number of complaints from people in the neighborhood. A viewer shared this video showing cars doing donuts as fireworks go off. Another neighbor told us he wants Mayor Brandon Johnson to take action.
I think he's too lenient. I think he needs to start being more aggressive with what's going on. I think he needs to add more police to the city.
Oh, you can forget about that big dog. He was too busy at a diversity, equity, and inclusion event. We'll get there.
Have them start doing something instead of just doing what they can, and I think they need to start nipping it and actually holding people accountable for their actions.
Well, the video shows off.
They got one police car. One.
Exactly. Let's talk about that. One police car. All these roaches scatter. It's like you turn the lights on and the roaches scatter. Like, you know what I'm saying? But one police squad cop pulled up. But Mayor Brandon Johnson got a 200 officer detail for him just to move through the city. Just for him. But a situation like this, one squad car roll up. I'm just saying, man, the misappropriation of resources. While these people out here protesting nonsense, I just gave y'all some random stories that's going on in Chicago. Why y'all not protesting this? People that are making the streets of Chicago unsafe at alarming rates. Quiet on this. The Democratic rulership of Chicago needs to be dethroned. You complain about bullshit while things like this are going on in your city, and you got on any given weekend 40 to 50 people being unalived just because it's a holiday weekend. Where is the resources allocated to protect the citizens of Chicago from situations like this? You need to change up the leadership. Mayor Brandon Johnson, I charge you with being inadequate as a mayor. While you running around with all your different policies that benefit undocumented peoples, where are your policies that protect people from nonsense like this?
One police car to break this up.
Officers responding to the scene, sending people running. But Chicago police tell us,
listen, bro,
they have no information about the incident tonight.
Of course they have no information. The Chicago police tells them that they have no information about the incident tonight, but everybody is running, everybody is scattering, and they had one.
Stop asking research questions to ChatGPT. Its answers are not reliable.
One police car. Wait till they start to graduate to be more like how they are over in Oakland and see what happened to that city. Wait till they graduate and they be more like how they are over in San Francisco and see how they graduate. I was looking in the comments of this video when y'all sent me this morning, and some of the people are trying to remove Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, from accountability. And they said that this is not a Brandon Johnson issue. This is a police issue. Well, how is it not one and the same? Because you know that the police officers are funded as far as their hiring, because let's be clear, for those of you that may not be familiar, because I'm intimately familiar with Chicago's finances, their police department, their immigration policies, how they refuse to work with the federal authorities in order to remove the bad actors out of their lives, all of that, right? Let's be clear. The budget for the police officers, especially when it comes to their academy, them training them, hiring more police officers, are largely tied to whatever it is that he's going with the city budget. So the Chicago city budget is operating at a deficit. Just a few months ago, they were complaining and crying about the fact that it was a possibility for them to have to raise property taxes, but instead they raised all of the other taxes, all of the little ancillary taxes around it, and they continue to run in the Victim Olympics and fund all of these illegal migrant crises, these shelters, these places, and all of that stuff. Meanwhile, they were down well over 2,000 police officers the entire time. So you can't bring more police officers. You can't train anybody. They remove ShotSpotter, which then allow for them to be able to preemptively and proactively deal with and address crime in the area. You can't do anything. Instead, Brandon Johnson largely stood on, this is the thing that he stood on in order to become a mayor of Chicago, defunding the police. And they
Thank you. Now he just broke that down. He broke that down. Shout out to Anton Daniels, man. You stood on defunding the police at the detriment of the American citizens. People sit up here and hate the police, but who else would have stopped a situation like this from occurring, the continuing? They would have been out there all night if the police didn't show up, and it was only one. No arrest, no understanding of what happened or who started it or nothing. But maybe if Brandon Johnson would have took some of that money that he gave to the illegal immigrants and funded the police, we would have more police presence, so stuff like this won't even occur. But the Democratic leadership, because it ain't just Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson, you's a puppet. You getting your marching orders from George Soros and the rest of the people that fund the Democratic regime. Because at this point, you're not a political party, you're a criminal regime. And you destroyed Chicago. you, a black mayor. That's why I don't deal with identity politics. I don't care if they black, because see, they use black faces to promote destructive agendas to the black people and every other citizen. Race in America at this point is a distraction. This is large. I know, like I said, I know this is probably a Latino neighborhood on the north side of Chicago, the northwest side, where a lot of the illegal immigrants reside. You feel what I'm saying? This ain't no black neighborhood like that. But it doesn't matter. The policies still apply for the whole city. And when you got bogus leadership like Brandon Johnson, they got less than a 10% approval rating, this is what you get.
Try to remove that. They're trying to get that removed and cleaned up all over the internet. But Chicago's Brandon Johnson stood on the side of and in opposition of their police officers and police department. I know several police officers over in Chicago. A couple of them I even coach. They hate Brandon Johnson. Absolutely despising. Several police officers have been killed during his tenure. And the families of these police officers ask him not to come to the funeral.
Fact.
So how is it not a city issue when the police officers are funded based off of taxpayer dollars? Meanwhile, they spent upwards of close to $1 billion making sure that they took care of this migrant crisis. And that's not even in tandem with, it's not even remotely in tandem with and accounting for all of the other resources that you cannot.
The media is covering the Social Security riots, but it's all a distraction for what's really going on.
Not really put a dollar value on if they go into your schools and the teachers. Police officers continuing to have to deal with them. At what point illegal migrants were sleeping in not only the airport, but the police stations. And Brandon Johnson was cool with it. Do you know how aggravated and angry police officers in Chicago was that had to see this and deal with this on a daily basis?
Facts. Big facts. I saw it with my own eyes. Like I say, I'm a truck driver. I'm going to leave that right there, man. Shout out to Anton Daniels, man. I'm a truck driver. I was driving all over the city, man. I was seeing them drive past almost every police station in Chicago. Illegal immigrants sitting out there with tents. You know what I'm saying? And Brandon Johnson didn't do nothing about it. But while these people are out here protesting nonsense, now after just seeing everything I showed you, I'm going to run this back. You know what I'm saying? I want to run this back. I mean, at the end of the day, man, at the end of the day, the stuff that they protesting is nonsense, bro. What I just showed you, the stuff that they protesting is nonsense. Let's just bring this back a little bit. They need to be protesting. Brandon Johnson. Hold on, I got to take that back a little bit. Got the sound off. Now, this is a reminder to what we started off with.
Well, there are massive crowds that showed up here today to the Daily Plaza here in downtown Chicago. You could see the number of signs, the number of people. All of them say they're protesting the Trump administration when it comes to hands off the courts, immigration laws, and foreign affairs. They say now is the time to stand up to the administration.
Chicagoans sending a statement to the Trump administration today, growing frustrated with many of the president's policies.
Y'all got everything that's going on. Y'all got time to be protesting Donald Trump. What about what's going on in your city? Don't this infuriate you now? Now that we ran through that boy that got unalive, now that we ran through what these kids are doing in downtown where they protesting that, don't this infuriate you? Y'all got time to be talking about some Donald Trump and, man, let's keep going.
A number of organizations joined in on the rally at Daley Plaza, protesting for reproductive rights, immigration laws, international peace.
Reproductive rights, immigration laws, and foreign policy. When you got people sitting up there tearing up the same streets that you marching on every night, just because it's another night. Y'all not out there, all these people. Talk about Tesla sign, stop MAGA. Who sent you people?
And federal funding to critical programs.
The science, the universities, research, freedom, no.
Don't this hit different now that we saw all that? Lady, what is you talking about? It hit different once you see what's really going on and what you people got time for. We'll be down there downtown in the middle, because see, y'all ain't protesting at night when it's going down. Yeah, I know when it's going down. See, all the people that y'all should be concerned with, they sleep while y'all over here doing this. They come out at night. The freaks come out at night. The freaks come out at night.
No arrests without due process.
People are awake, alive, paying attention, and ready to step out and do something against this horrible administration.
Protests against the administration have continued across the country, as well as suburbs throughout Illinois. Crowds gathered in Arlington Heights today, protesting for the same reason. In Chicago, the rally lasted a couple hours. One of the organizers is an assistant professor at UIC, where she says they're already facing adversity.
Our federal funding is at risk, or some of it is gone. We are very concerned about the attacks on it.
Shut your dumb ass up. I just wanted to show y'all that right quick, man. Get your goofy ass out of here, man. Y'all over here talking about all this nonsense when there's real life stuff going on, man. That's my point. I just wanted to bring that back, because there's real issues that need to be addressed. And Mayor Brandon Johnson, this part 5, and I laid off you for a while. But this is part 5, man. Like I said, when I did part 2, this gonna be a series on your head, bro. I'm on your head. Because there's too much going on in Chicago, man. And it has to be brought, it has to have awareness. We have to document this in real time. So y'all see, next time when it's time to vote, do not vote Democrat, vote Republican in the city of Chicago, or you're gonna be dealing with the same problem, because the people that are behind Brandon Johnson are going to be behind the next Democratic nominee. This don't stop with Brandon Johnson. It didn't stop with Lori Lightfoot. This is the time, with the political atmosphere that we have now in the Flip Chicago Red movement. Shout out to those brothers and sisters that's putting in work. This is the time to step away. And I'm no Republican, but we can't deal with no Democrats, man. We ain't gonna have a city if we continue to go in that direction. But it's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. We love y'all. And until the next time, we'll talk to you soon. Peace and blessings, everybody. Much love.